All right.
Hello. I'm going to introduce you to Drew. He's the other cameraman. He's also a counselor here.
We
Hi,
do our
Drew.
best. Hey, how are you?
We're going to introduce you to the whole staff here, and one of these days we're going to walk around our small clinic and show you around.
Have a good time.
All right. Thank you,
Stay
Drew.
well.
Appreciate it. Yeah, I think it's important that you know who you're talking to here and who we are. You already know what we're about, of course. And I got back with you today. I can't believe it. I had a shorter appointment here, so I'm going to go on with these questions and answers so I can get caught up. I'll come in tomorrow and deal some more with you, and we'll get caught up here. Okay, the water full of love. Listen, good dude. I'll get more specific with herbs. I really will. I always believe in taking about 25 herbs. And look at the herbs I use in my formulas, because I used to teach all these herbs in my classes years ago. And I always recommend take 25 herbs and study each one of them. Get 10 different herb books. Maybe I'll give you a list of the better ones, but there's all levels out there, and there's a lot of copycat ones too. Sometimes something will be said about an herb that isn't true, but somehow it echoes through books and stuff, and pretty soon it becomes fact. And then that's crazy. Lobelia had a bad rap, but when you research the case, it was ridiculous. I mean, it's that sort of thing out there, you know. And so, got to shift with it and ask us guys that have been using them for years which ones are better. Good herb schools, of course, are the best. Herb schools are fun. They're not overly expensive. Botanicals are fun to learn about, and it gives you a degree on the wall, and there's just a lot of them. I have some resources in my book, but the Canadian schools are probably the toughest. But it's good to know about herbs, because that's, I think, is going to be the future. If we don't have herbs, I just, you know, I don't know, end of times, I suppose. So I'll be back with you on that individual herbs. And yeah, you'll make a good healer, bro. You guys get out there and make good healers. Now, this one case, this naturopath had told this lady, or gentleman, forgive me, Kara, it's a lady. She had developed discolored patches under her arms, detoxifying. And let's see here. This naturopath said she was eating too much fruit, and that symptom was diabetes related. Oh, that's why I almost hate to call myself a naturopath anymore. Oh, too much fruits, and it's diabetes related. I'm telling you, if you're a naturopath and you think that, I think you ought to turn in your degree, because you obviously have no clue, and you don't deserve to have the name naturopath until you learn more. I mean, that's idiotic. I mean, you know, this lady's detoxing something out of her lymph nodes. Could be sulfa drugs. She's been on vitamins and minerals, B vitamins, synthetics will come out. I mean, there's a lot of chemicals this could be. This isn't sugar. I mean, diabetes from fruits? Are you kidding me? I mean, if you were taught that, your school probably needs to quit. I mean, that's insane. And we're frugivores. And let's see, half the primates must have, three-fourths of the primates must have diabetes. I mean, oh my God. I don't know where this stuff comes from, guys. You'll have to forgive me on that one. I'm afraid to laugh. And I don't mean to cut this person down, but I mean, this is naturopathic stupidity. And it's just, it can't exist anymore, and it's just existing everywhere. Kara wants to know about our International School of Detoxification. Call Kathy, sweetheart, and forgive me, but yeah, you're going to see all kinds of things coming out of your body. You could have some skin pigmentation changes from the pituitary, but I doubt seriously. I mean, you'd be surprised between the makeups and the chemicals that ladies use and we ingest and that we breathe. I mean, it's a world of who knows what. Keep detoxifying, though, because it's important. Keep yourself clean, and it's important that you keep moving that out. If the skin's actually changing pigmentation colors, that's interesting. You got some real toxicity in that area. But as you clean that lymph system and you get these lymph nodes cleaned through the kidneys, that should all disappear on you and not have a problem, okay? Uh, it was asking me about dental hygiene and combating gum disease and stuff like that. Well, I think more internally. We have a good heal all tea. Someone asked me about abscesses and stuff like that, or tumors. I have that heal all tea, and I use that for vaginal cancers or cervical or uterine cancers, colorectal cancers, mouth cancers, tongue, palate cancers. There's all kinds of cancers out there, and these hurt. So they really need, you can hold this heal all tea in your mouth, make some, and while you're watching TV or doing something, and then spit it out, and then take some more and hold it in your mouth. You can gargle with it. You can actually use the shavings of the herbs after you boil the water and hold them in there on your gum. It'll strengthen that gum. It is possible in a detox for the gums to get abscessy and the teeth to get loose. If you keep pushing through that, the gums will get strong and clean and lock back down on the teeth. And I think I told you about a pancreatic cancer case that this happened to. And she ended up with like 7, 8 abscesses in her mouth, and the dentist had pulled one loose tooth, and it's like, whoa! And all her teeth became loose, and I kept pushing her through this, and after that, the lymph cleaned in her mouth, whap, down on those teeth they went again. So sometimes we premature judge some symptoms, and like I said, detox can be a real puller here. Ovarian cysts and anything endometrial, like endometriosis and stuff. Ladies, what is this? You're going to have to help me out. You're right. This is the lymph system. Ovarian cysts, endometriosis, fibroids, uterine fibroids. This is all the lymph system, not going anywhere quick. You can equate that to man's prostate and prostatitis, that sort of thing. Then we get cysts on the kidneys and in the bladder, tumors. I mean, this is all the lymph system. Tumors and cysts and boils and pimples and fibroids and fibrocystic problems, this is all the lymph system. It's all the lymph system. It's going to get real simple on you, and so you might be too simple for a lot of people to understand. I find it amazing, so you forgive me, but it just boils down to the fact that the body's nothing but cells and two fluids, and there's only two sides of chemistry, and which side of chemistry is the owie side? Yeah, it's the acid side. That's the I've got a pain in my shoulder side. That's the one. So yeah, you'd definitely go after this. Now, this question keeps coming up here, so I'm going to write this as one of the headlines on this, and that's Candida. Candida is just a fungus or a yeast, same family, and molds are part of this family. This is a fermentation family. Remember beer and yeast? And so breads, a lot of yeast. So we use these yeasts. The thing is, this is all involved in fermentation. You really see this present in the course of your inability to break down complex sugars. Fruits are not complex sugars just because they taste sweet. I'll tell you this. Eat a diet of fruit for a while, then eat a piece of bread. And you'll see how much sweeter the bread is than the fruit. When you look at it chemically, grains have a lot more fructose and glucose bonds together than your fruit. Fruit is simple monosaccharides, which is simple saccharides or sugars. Your dextrose, maltose, these are di and poly. Di meaning two, poly meaning many, saccharides. In other words, glucose generally and fructose bonded multiple times. Makes for a real strong sugar. And it's kind of like we were talking about in proteins. When too many amino acids bond together, we call that protein. And it's kind of like we were talking about in proteins. When too many amino acids bond together, we call that protein. Body can't use a protein, can't use a starch, and can't use a fat. That simple. So Candida, don't worry about Candida so much, guys. Take an herbal formula. Don't do colloidal silver. Don't isolate chemistry and expect not to have a side effect. Some of the side effects aren't apparent for a while. Now, you know that guy walking around that looks blue, not the Blue Man Group, but the one guy from colloidal silver. I mean, that's scary. So you never know the far-reaching effects of isolating chemistry here. But Candida, use a parasite. Parasite M is our formula for fungal problems. But clean the sewer system out and avoid starches until you can fix your adrenal glands. Remember, cortisol is the sugar metabolism steroid. And when you're low in adrenal steroids, or cortisol particularly, then you tend to run a little hypoglycemia, a little low blood sugar, then ends up type 2 hyperglycemia. Simply means they're both the same. You don't metabolize sugars, and the fungal family is going to come in. And this is especially true if you put fruits also on top of vegetables. You're going to ferment the fruit sugars. Put watermelon on top of grains or fruit on top of cereal. You're going to ferment that fruit. Because cereals are much harder to digest than fruits, and whenever you hold up fruit sugar, it's going to ferment. Whatever you can't digest or metabolize is going to ferment, or it's going to putrefy, and so you're going to have a symptom from that. One of the symptoms is, of course, raising the blood sugar and blood alcohol level. I think I mentioned it on one of the videos, and forgive me if I repeat myself, because I just can't remember. I live in the now so much that I don't know what was yesterday. So there is that problem about living in the now, what did I say? But there was a gentleman that had watermelon on top of oatmeal. He's an older guy. And later was arrested for DUI because the watermelon had fermented on top of the oatmeal, creating an elevated blood alcohol level, and I'm sure a blood sugar level. So if you're a diabetic, you want to separate all your categories, your fruits with your fruits, your vegetables with your vegetables, and I wouldn't eat anything else. So this Candida problem, just take your parasite formulas, go after that lymph system, and don't even think about it twice. Just keep on going, and you'll clean your lymph system right up. This poor lady, is this a lady? Pocahontas? I would think so. Well, honey, your low blood pressure, that's your adrenal glands. And that's what I'm saying to you guys, is that we're in trouble in our kidneys and adrenals and in our colons, and that has far-reaching effects in the body, of course. And so that's the first thing right off, is that you have adrenal gland weakness. And of course that immediately tells you're sitting on top of the kidneys, and there's the kidneys with that. You have a cyst on your ovary, that right there. You're not filtering your lymph system, and of course your lymph's backing up with that. These are acids. She's scared of the sugar and Candida. Please don't be. Use the parasitic formula, good antifungal. Go after that, but aggressively go after your lymph system. Increase your adrenal gland function. Stay with simple sugars. Have to have simple sugars. You can't get away from sugar, because if you do, you'll do the Atkins thing, and then you'll stroke or heart attack one day. You cannot go to a protein to avoid any of these problems, because your body... It's like using a protein for energy is like burning the walls of a house in a fireplace to keep warm. Can't do it. You don't want to go there. Atkins should have been jailed for that. You're 100 over 60. 60 is perfect. That's perfect blood pressure on the diastolic. That's your kidneys. 100, too low. And once you fix your kidneys, you might even go a little lower genetically there. But I would take an adrenal glandular or our adrenal formula or something for the adrenals to bring up the adrenal glands. Genetics, I don't know how old you are. I get a sense that you're younger, but we'll see. Forgive me if I go too fast, but I've got so many questions here. I'm doing is what I can. Listen, I appreciate all your comments, and on the spiritual video too. I really appreciate that, because I don't know quite what to let out of what is involved in the God worlds, and what we need to do to move forward here on this planet, and for you, for your next journey, because it's time to think about your next journey, even if you're young. It's time to unwind the karma. It's time to blossom in the ever-presence of the now, and the ever-presence of that which is, the Supreme Being, and joyful bliss and ecstasy. It's your right, it's who you are, and you deserve it. And so planet's hard right now. It's a real hard planet. And the negative forces are fighting heavy. But you know what? That's nature. I mean, the two sides. We fight it in chemistry. We fight it in magnetics. We fight it all over the place. Let me see what this is. Yeah, I don't know. J.G. Fergus. Hey, I like you, man. You know, I like I like your comment. Yeah, they're definitely loaded up on animal meat. That's for sure. I really like your comments here. Appreciate it, my friend. That was amazing that they got my book to you overnight in Canada. That's friggin' amazing to me. So that is. Also, Crystalline Ascension, I really like you. You're great here. So I appreciate these comments. Now, a lot of comments about gallbladder and liver problems. And I just want you to stop and realize that the gallbladder and the liver is nothing but cells and two fluids. Doesn't matter what their performance or function is, such as bile for fat breakdown, stuff like this. You really have to understand that it's your lymph system that breaks things down, whether it's in the liver. And generally when you see it in the liver, it's also in your bowel wall and probably in the brother next door of the pancreas. And so even at a low level, you could have some hepatitis or inflammation in the liver and in the pancreas, some pancreatitis, and maybe some enteritis in the small bowel. This all kind of goes with that, even though sometimes you don't feel things. So to restore these, you can always use a liver formula, a pancreatic formula, but I want you to always think that behind that, these herbs are great to enhance the function of the cells, but behind that is the lymph system. And that lymph system is what's breaking down these tissues. So it always comes back. Isn't that interesting? It always comes back to this gigantic sewer system. And what happens when the kidneys can't filter it? And what happens when acidosis is allowed to stay in the body? And that anionic effect, that dehydrating, coagulating effect of this fluid that makes it so hard to move out. And it's a mucousy fluid. And you've seen that if you've gotten thickened mucus out of the sinuses or lungs. Just what happens when that fluid is allowed to get acidic too long. And of course that's just locked around the cells. Put a big blanket over your head and tie it there and see if you can breathe well. And that's what we're doing to our cells when we're backed up like that. Okay. Yeah, I really love your comments, guys. I really love your comments. I think we all make a good team. I do. I think I feel a good bond to a lot of you guys. I love your hearts. I love your comments, and this is fun for me because you are receptive and you're growing, and we're exploring and we're going through there. I'm open to your issues and stuff and learning as well from you guys. So I've always wanted to really explode this worldwide. I feel like that's what I'm here, and it's now I see how it's possible. Again, there are some powers that be. We're working on things, and I just hope, I'm afraid to let it out. I did sign a confidentiality agreement, but we are working on a big project. Whether that gets off the ground, I don't know. It looks like it is. If it does, you'll be the first to know, and you'll be excited because I could probably use a lot of you to help me. Let's see. Let's see. Juice fasting. Oh, you're talking about dissolving gallstones. Yeah, gallstones are soft stones. They're yellow and green. The green is bile, the yellow is cholesterol, so they're actually cholesterol bile stones. Yeah, that's why I think it's better to use the liver formula to detoxify your body for a while, because remember, detoxification is a cationic experience, meaning it's going to dissolve away, break apart, and that's true in the blood. You'll see your blood cells. Generally, when you eat proteins and things, your blood cells cluster or follow each other like choo-choo trains. Once you're bringing in enzymatic-rich foods like fruits and berries, the blood cells separate. Everybody's good. You can clot when you need to. I know they give you anti-clotting medications and stuff in strokes and things, and really the problem is your blood is too many proteins and things in the blood. It comes back to proteins. I'm sorry. You study this and study this, you'll wonder why man has such a fetish with proteins, but look at him. He's going down. So don't be afraid of that. And then do a liver gallbladder flush, in a couple of months if you feel good about it, But detoxify for a while, and it'll pull the gallstones and polyps out and stuff like that. You might have to get aggressive with your lymph system. And getting aggressive is more fruits, more berries, and more melons. Don't tell anybody, but some of your comments, if you noticed, if you're reading some of these comments, guys, you see some of these guys that found out already how more powerful fruits and berries and melons are over vegetables. I love those comments because this is what I found. And this is what Arnold Ehret found. And this is what hundreds of great, even medical doctors found in the early 1800s, later 1800s, early 1900s, found the same thing. Everybody finds the same thing when they do it. Sometimes fear and ridiculous misinformation that's out there scares you, but don't let that scare you. Don't let God scare you. God made the fruits for all of us, and, go that way. More gallstones here. Here, I'm thinking you're saying lymphedema, stage 1. You have lymphedema in the legs. Again, that's kidney failure. I mean, when your legs start swelling, that's kidney failure. And that's the lymph system, but it's probably been backing up in you for a longer time than you can realize. The sugars, simple sugars, don't be afraid of them. And that reminds me, I think this was an important one to touch on, is this gentleman, I think he's in Bulgaria, fighting his type 1, and he quit taking his insulin. Remember, I made a comment on that. She's made another comment about which, excuse me, please, which insulin should he stop, the slow acting or the fast acting. I don't legally have a right to tell you any of that, I don't think. Even though the laws in Florida we found are contrary, gives me the right. Of course, our Constitution gives. But you know what? If it was me, and I'm on a fruit and vegetable diet, my blood sugars are coming down. I would be more interested in controlling with a faster acting one, and I'd be watching my blood sugar often so I could get it stabilized. I know you're working off a different number than we are, but anything below 130, 120 is, that's a for a type 1 diabetic is a good blood sugar. But here we stabilize it at around 90 to 100. And for a type 1, that's good. But once in a while, you go up and down, so everybody does a little bit. So you might need to call the clinic if you want more help. Hard to, some things you just have to be smart with. I'm trying to find her thing here. Oh, yeah, here we are. Which of the blood sugar levels we should take into account before eating or shortly after eating? I would like to see what you're eating and how your body metabolizes it. That's really the key, is not the fasting blood sugar, but how your body deals with the blood sugar, with sugars, and how to utilize it. The problem is you're looking at glucose. Fructose doesn't need insulin, so it's a little misunderstanding, or it's a little bit. You have to understand that if you're eating fruit, you're going to get that sugar into a cell. And that is more important than anything else, is that you get a sugar in a cell to give you carbon so you can get ATP. So that's important to understand. If certain fruits cause your blood sugar to go up, don't eat them. Balance out there a little bit. Work yourself through this. Use a pancreatic formula. Our pancreatic formula is designed for that. And this can be a neurological type 1. And remember, in past videos, we went over the neurological side of a lot of conditions. So I don't know, what to tell you there. But I think I would, if it was me, I'm going to be looking at my blood sugar and controlling it more quickly than I'm going to be thinking long term. Because in long term, I'm on simple sugars, and this is all about bringing that. I mean, and if you get ketosis, do a lot of watermelons, and really just detoxify that body out there. This other person asked me about Earth Bowl. That's an interesting name. I like that. You guys got some cool names here. Asking me, about a root canal and all this. That's the one I was referring to about taking the heel loss, the bark and the leaves of the herbs left from boiling, then making the tea and putting up on that area there. This is also inside the gums and stuff. This is your lymph system, and so very familiar with dental work, unfortunately. Baking soda. Someone asked me about how to take care of teeth. I use baking soda, or we have a formula with that in it. Someone also asked me about ionizers, what my feeling is. I don't like messing with nature. Maybe I'm too simple, guys, so forgive me, but I don't believe in messing with God. I don't. I mean, as I go on here, that's what we've done. We've been playing with chemistry when we should have just left well enough alone. Enjoyed the ecstasy and bliss of consciousness, not the mind. But this world is about playing with the mind, so I guess I can't judge. But typically right now, we're seeing people playing with 9.5. And I don't like ionized water, but 9.5 dangerous. I'm getting a lot of people in here feeling sick at 9.5. Remember, your blood is only 7.4 pH, and I think I was telling you, I think cesium is like, 8.5. That's as high as an alkaline ingestion I would go. You don't want to go too far on the alkaline side either. Make no mistake, there's a balance between acids and the bases, and that's more important. The balance is more on the base side, however, than it is on the acid side. It's not 50-50. So I don't think much of machines. A lot of chiropractors use machines and to diagnose, and machines to do this. And if you don't know the body, you don't know the body. And I don't get into machines. I think that we should know. And I like mountain water. I like energized mountain water or spring water out of these deep springs. So we were talking about that, about waters here in a past thing. So I'm really not hot into that. If you're going to get maybe get your distiller, and then I just hate adding colloidal minerals, that's liquid minerals, because then some chemist made that formula, and it's like, I like the earth to energize that for us, But I don't care. Most fruits and vegetables, they're full of water. You're not going to be real thirsty on the side of that anyway. Another question was asking me about bioidentical steroids and hormones. My feeling is the same. I don't care what they call them. You don't take hormones, steroids, neurotransmitters, digestive enzymes, anything like that. That's melatonin, that's synthroid, that's armor, that's cortisol, that's anything. Because if we take those things, we then are going to see a decline and a decay of the function of those respective glands. Because if we take those things, we then are going to see a decline and a decay of the function of those respective glands. Well, then when you try to come off of them, that's why in steroid use you have to titrate, which means come off slowly, or you can get your butt kicked. And you explode, your skin starts splitting. And this just shows you how detrimental these things are. Unfortunately, birth control pills are estrogen, and that can actually do the same thing. So a woman stops taking birth control pills, she has real difficult time producing estrogen. So, I understand the need of that. I'd love to come out with an herbal birth control. I think that would be the cat's meow. So if any of you know any good, any Native American or any good stuff that we can put together and make a good formula like that, but it's hard to mess with the glands of the body. When your gland isn't functioning properly, go after those cells, because it's just cells not doing their job. Cells, when you're going after a cell, you're going after a cell with two things, chemistry and magnetics, or energy. Remember, we were talking about in quantum physics, we've proved that energy has intelligence. That's God. So we're going after those with the materials that we know is the closest, that hasn't been aberrated or mutated or hybrid, except for the foods. But we're going to go after what we can. That's why I love the herbs, before we start mutating them. But we want to grab those. They are pure. They're strong. They know right where they're. They have a job to do. They were here for a job. And that's what I love, the beauty of botanicals. To make pharmaceuticals is an insult. So be careful about taking them. Homeopathic hormones, I'm not... I have studied homeopathy to some extent. I don't use it, so I'm not. I don't have any comment. I can't say one way or another. If they're not hormones or steroids, I don't care. But go after the health of cells. That's where the issue is in the cells. Yeah, and the same thing about gallstones. Get a lot of questions about gallstones. And again, spend a month or two on raw and using maybe the liver formula and the kidneys, adrenals, and lymphatics, and work on the colon. Got to work on the colon with liver. Got to work on the GI tract. Work on those. Do a lymphatic 1 capsule, which will pull more herbs on the bowel wall, more to the liver and pancreas. Use a stomach and bowel formula, and then do a liver, gallbladder, flush. I think you'll have an easier time. Here's someone with blood pressure 70/40. Oh my God. Boy, my heart goes out to you, sweetheart. Holy crap. 70/40 to 90/60. Well, 40 is your kidney, so that means a real weak kidney. And are you looking at two different sides? Remember, blood pressure, you check on both sides of the body because you're looking at adrenal glands. That's your systolic, is your adrenal cardiac punch. Your bottom is your diastolic, which is your pressure in your pipes. That's your kidneys that control that. So you're looking at 70/40. That I would suspect would be a child born today. That's the problem. So, oh, honey, you got some really low adrenal glands. Well, we were just talking about that earlier with the staff here. We've got a lot of serious cases here, and I've got a great osteopathic friend battling Lou Gehrig's really bad, and he's been a tough one for me, and he's still hanging in the 80s over. Real tough, So you can use strong glandulars, you can use the adrenal gland. Licorice brings the blood pressure up quicker, acts as natural cortisol, so it helps in sugar metabolism. This is, and you just have to work on that, sweetheart, and work on your kidneys too, and keep cleaning your house out and keep working on it. The thing with fruits and vegetables, there's no stimulants. I don't use stimulants because remember, when in spirituality, you understand that that creation is dualistic. The higher you get toward the now, or the closer to the now, the less it appears dualistic. It appears more one. Until you break the id, then it's total one. Then there's no difference between me, you, the desk, or anything else because we are it. But in creation, there is a separation between, and that's duality, even in its finest, almost imperceptible levels. Whenever you stimulate, you actually innervate. So whenever you try to get too aggressive with something, with coffee enemas or with coffee, notice a lot of people don't move their bowels. They have to have that cup of coffee. And as you're doing that through life, it's innervating you even more. So that's why at first I kind of let your body kind of go down and hit a little bit of a bottom and then let it build up, because I'm looking for dynamic cellular vitality. And when the cells are healthy and vital, you're healthy and vital. Matter of fact, when your cells are healthy and vital in your body, you don't even know they're there. You don't even know you have a body because they're so healthy. It's like a motor from Detroit, brand new, or from Japan. They built some fantastically quiet car. What? Is that car even running? That's your body should hum like that, and no obstructions, no resistance to the flow of blood or lymph. Everybody's moving good, everything's good. Boy, you won't even know you have a body, and here's where your energy will be. You'll be that ball of light which you are already. So it just takes work to work there, but keep going, sweetheart. Woo, seriously low blood pressure. Oh, scary. Okay. How's my time? Well, maybe they'll knock on my door here in a minute. I kind of have to watch my time. NNJ925. Good looking woman you are. Good looking woman you are. Both parents with diabetes. Ouch. Well, so what type? If it's adrenal glands, and that's what's coming down the line here. You just have to work on your kidneys and adrenals. That's where the problem is, and just keep working them. You'll be good. Keep working yourself out. But grandma could have reached over and pulled you out temporarily. But just make that part of your body healthy. Just keep working on those tissues and you'll be good. If it's type 1, you got to work on your pancreas a little bit. And even type 1, there's neurological. So I say always work on your adrenal glands. It's funny, that's becoming a cliche almost, but the body only has so many parts to it. And once you learn them, boy, you got it, Wendy smiling. Let me see here. Yeah, love to you too, sweetheart. Medical profession really hurt her. Yeah. I don't sit here with idle talk. This is a serious website for me, or a YouTube site. I think that we're all working together to pull ourselves out of some horrendous atrocities, and then waking up to a new day, right? So don't let the past bother you. Start right now and get that body healthy again. Tissue will grow back if it needs to grow back. If not, just a body. Get to who you are, and use the body when you need it, and come along and have fun with it. The body will heal. It can work without some parts, but kind of sad, to hear all that. You hear all these stories, guys, and it just pulls at my heartstrings. But oh man. Okay, this one is about weight loss. And I think we've talked about weight loss, and I'm going to put this down here as another title to this because we've talked about this before. If you're malabsorbed or you're not digesting your foods properly, you can get a little thin on this program because you really don't have what you think underneath anyway. A lot of people will look like they're big and muscular, but they really have more fat than they have muscle, or it's a very inferior muscle. And it's like a bodybuilder coming in here on high protein diets. They're going to say bye-bye to those muscles. They're inferior. Superior muscles is what you're really looking for. And I just heard a beep on that, and I hope it didn't turn off. But you look for superior muscles. And superior muscles are going to be put on with greens and fruits and things like this. So it's probably my time. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to take a little break here. And if this camera's continuing, then I'll come back. But I'm waiting for my next client. But I tried to get this in on you as soon as I could there. So I'll keep going. Tomorrow I'll finish up here. And then I think we'll be in good shape. All right. Listen, thanks again. My heart has enough to say to you. I love you all. I appreciate the bonding and the good comments. It makes us feel good with the amount of suffering we deal with here. I just got another email, and this is about a small baby. I mean, when you read some of the things that these kids are going through the medical establishment, and even with these horrendous genetic weaknesses are just really tearing these babies up, guys. We need all of us to empower ourselves with the idea of regeneration and remembering genetically cells. We need to empower ourselves with that because we've got a lot of work to do with the kids. I just have to tell you. So thank you, and I'll see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.